If your idea of a good time is taking a river, road, and trail hike up to a waterfalls where you can jump off and swim, then this hike may be just right for you. This crystal clear mountain river water is so refreshing after a long hike, especially on a hot day. The Cuale River Falls is truly beautiful, and the good news is it's within hiking distance of the downtown of Puerto Vallarta. If you start at the Las Mortas Pier, it's approximately 11 kilometers or 7 miles to reach the falls. For those of you who don't want to hike that far, the good news is that you can take a bus out to Paso Ancho, and that'll cut the distance by about half. The map above shows you the C4 bus route, and you can clearly see that you can pick it up almost anywhere in the downtown. The cost to go out to Paso Ancho is about 10 pesos. The bus runs from 6 in the morning till 10 p.m. and generally leaves anywhere between 20 and 25 minutes regularly. The hike is relatively easy to navigate as it follows the River Cuale, but there are a few turnoffs, and therefore I suggest getting a guide if you've never done it before. In terms of difficulty, I rate it somewhere between easy and medium. There are 2 river crossings. They're not difficult, but there's also one large climb up into the mountains. The trail is not difficult since it winds back and forth, so there's no section that is overly steep. There were 11 people in our party today, all but 2 were over 60, and we had no difficulty. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, like and subscribe. So for the rest of the video, I'm just going to show you how we actually got to the falls by hiking. We started on Laszlo Cardenas at the bridge and walked from there. And as I said earlier, the only thing you need to do at this point in time is stay on the sidewalks and follow the river.
Kind of inundated with cars and
Yeah. The sidewalks on this side of the river are in very good shape, and this will take you to your first turnoff, which is just past the main highway or the tunnel road that takes you down to Centro. One of the things I really enjoyed about this hike is you get to see part of the older part of the city, plus a few restaurants that I've never been to, but I definitely need to try that are along the river. And now we're passing under the main highway bridge at Cuale Avenue Libramento, and as you can see, one of the C4 buses was just passing us by. I love all these bridges. On this side of the river, to the left, is the Colonial of Buenos Aires. There are a lot of locals in this area, but a few expats make it their home as well. On the left-hand side, there's a school, and what I find in Puerto Vallarta over the last 7 years I've been here is there's more and more murals painted on a lot of the structures. Some of them are truly works of art, and we really enjoy checking them out. As you can see, the sidewalk just follows exactly along the river. We're passing over another bridge. You can see how beautiful that river is. We are now approaching La Huerta, otherwise known as the Rio Cuale Barbecue. Very well known, great restaurant, lots of good live music there if you're interested. So we've now left the more populated sections or outer sections of Puerto Vallarta. The roads here are cobblestone, but we'll be passing on some more dirt roads shortly. Not a lot of traffic, but there is some, so you need to be careful, and there are no sidewalks, so walk facing traffic, of course. What I would recommend that you be wary of on days in which there is a cruise ship in. Sometimes there's lots of ATVs running up here with one of the Vallarta Adventure or Canopy River tours, and they can create a little bit of dust. So if you can avoid those days, that would be recommended. Having said that, it's really not that bad, and the whole trip is rather enjoyable. I really do enjoy going through these little pueblos and colonials and seeing how people live in this particular area of the city and Mexico.
On map here. It's like a temporary road.
Way expensive. I don't know if it's still for rent or not.
It's beautiful here. Nice clear water. And everywhere you go.
Whenever you're walking down the river, you're always going to find pedestrian bridges that take you from one side to the other. So on this side we have a road, on the other side there is no road, but there's still homes over there, and the population crosses with this bridge, with these types of bridges. One of the challenges is that from time to time they get wiped out if there's a lot of rain in the mountains due to some of the hurricanes that are on the west coast.
If you started doing it. So if I have a problem with a particular verb, Google that verb, and there's somebody going through all the...
That looks like there was a nice bridge there at one point, or walkway.
Oh.
Yeah, it got knocked down.
Yes, yeah. And there was another one further back.
You notice that there's a lot more water up higher here, eh?
Yeah.
So here's an example of the ATVs coming through on one of the tours. I believe this is from Canopy River. ATVs, razors, and then a few trucks carrying some of the tourists. This is Paso Ancho, and this building here is where the bus turns around. So the C4 bus will stop here and then head back to town. So if you want to catch it on the way back to save you some walking, then you'll stop here and wait for it. And as I said, it should arrive every 20 to 24 minutes, and it runs from 6 in the morning to about 10 at night. There's also a number of restaurants along the way where you can stop and get something to eat or drink. And I recommend on this trip, if you're walking from all the way downtown, bring a couple of bottles of water for yourself so you don't get dehydrated.
Kilometers to the Canopy River. Beautiful water here. Nice, looks like it'd be a good place to swim.
I'm not sure what the archways symbolize, but if somebody knows, please leave a comment and let us know. According to the sign, we're about 2 kilometers away from the Canopy River Resort. It's a place where you can do zip lining. They have a pool. They also have a fairly large buffet on the weekends. They run a large bridge there, which you can run your ATVs over. Is actually a very popular tourist attraction that a lot of people, especially coming off the cruise ships, decide to do.
That's a nice restaurant.
Yeah, we quite often people stop there.
Oh,
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
But you know, that
So
was
this is the turnoff to Rancho Mi Abuelos, so you want to keep to the left here.
I've heard that place is really good.
It's really cold water. Well, we were there in December, but they got lots of pools you can cool off in, and yeah, it's quite nice. I walked up.
Lorraine goes up there.
The drive up there.
I know.
Can you walk up there and just walk?
I don't know.
Seconds per kilometer.
At this point, we're getting off the main road with cobblestones and going on more of a dirt track and following right along the river. Shortly, we'll be crossing the river and taking some paths and heading up into the mountains. So this is the point that we actually leave the road and we have our first river crossing. It's at this time of year, there's not a lot of water. I was told in the summer it gets a little bit more. It might get up to waist deep. At this point, it was only about ankle deep. I was wearing an old pair of running shoes, so I just walked across. A lot of others took off their shoes. A couple did it in their bare feet, but I don't really recommend that. It's pretty easy to slip and hurt yourself. So anyways, a short distance across the water, then a short walk along the path again, and then we cross back over to this side before heading up into the mountains. Absolutely, you got to take care of the puppy first. We have our priorities.
Actually, there's a little river back there that I see stuck at. Not even a river, a stream. Keep going, girl.
One wet dog.
At this time of year, there's been quite a few people who've actually taken this trail, which makes it easy to follow since you can see their footprints in the sand. The trail's well marked, and you'll see where they cross again to get to the other side. So just past these large boulders on the right is where we make a crossing to get to the other side, and you'll see a trail and sand where people have obviously made the crossing, and you start heading up from there. This crossing is only several hundred meters from the previous crossing.
Okay. Over this way, girl. The current's taken, made it a little.
So this is the second and the last of our river crossings, at least on the way there. Obviously, when we come back, we gotta cross them again. As you can see, they're not very difficult. There's not a lot of stones to trip over on this particular section. Fairly shallow at this time of the year. In this case, it's definitely below your calf muscles, so easy to get across and quite enjoyable. And at this time of the year, the water is cool, and at this section of the river, it's not overly cold.
Right here?
Yeah, right up there, and like I say, the rest of this hike is on this side of the river, so no more crossing.
So now that we've crossed the river, we're heading up into the mountains for a bit of a long climb, about half an hour on the trail here. As I said, it's not overly difficult as the trail goes back and forth in a switchback sort of fashion, and therefore no section is overly steep. It just takes a little bit of time to reach the top.
Shouldn't guide dogs be in the front? It looks like we're getting to the top.
About half an hour, and we did make it to the top. Well, I should say we made it to this dirt road section. On the left is actually the entrance to the Canopy River's Jorillo Bridge.
What would they charge you?
So we're going to go right here at this intersection, but then keep bearing to our left.
Well, you'll see. So we're gonna go the other way. There's two roads here. If you go to the right, you can go down to the tributary and back this way without crossing the river. But there's a gate there that's very difficult to get underneath. And so we don't do that anymore. So we go around here to the left, and this road ends at the waterfall. And it's about, right when she gets here, she's gonna get it on the way back. Anyway. Yeah, well, the rainy season did that. Yeah, no, see the fresh
So at the bottom of this hill, we came up to an open rock, which people call as the Bat Cave. And sure enough, when I looked into it, you can actually see a lot of bats that I stirred up by yelling at it. So things you see flying, those are bats.
There's some bats. Woohoo! Woohoo! I don't know if this
Do they like lights or not?
Guys, you're almost there.
It says El Mirador, so there must be a lookout. You can definitely hear the water. Well, there's the river again.
So there's a pathway to the left here, a nice stone pathway, but there's also a bridge. Unfortunately, it was locked, but the ATVs use this to cross back and forth. I think when we're going down, we actually have a group come right on over us, and then they join us at the falls. But the walkway down is actually very, very nice, very even, and there's a few guardrails.
We almost always go this way.
And here we are. We're at the River Cuale, or the Rio Cuale waterfalls. What a beautiful piece of nature. So the Canopy River had an ATV tour group come through and they've joined us at the falls, decided to swim as well. What I really enjoy about coming to this falls is they've got a ladder set up which will take you to the top of this rock where you can jump off right beside the falls and let the current push you back out to the shoreline.
Dry. Keep a dry finger. Dry enough? Down here somewhere. But then the sun's in my face.
Yeah.
So I go.
Hey, Mom, this is for you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the hike, and if you did, please like and subscribe.